Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
On my second leg of exploring southwestern Turkey, I visited Ephesus, the Greek and Roman metropolis full of history. And I based myself in the little town of Selçuk, right next to Ephesus. So it's a really convenient place to base yourself for at least a couple of days to allow one full day to explore Ephesus. This is the amphitheater in Ephesus in current Turkey. This used to be a metropolis of ancient Greece and also of Rome. So can you imagine the emperors that came here perhaps to watch a play? Apparently Julius Caesar was passing by quite a few times. There was the temple of Artemis in this city, which was one of the 7 wonders of the world. So it attracted a lot of famous people and dignitaries. Thankfully, I think there were no gladiators around here. Otherwise, I would have done this. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Of course, wrong location and wrong time and fiction, but still.
That section was open here, especially for the air circulation inside.
I have been visiting Ephesus today, and I have to say my impressions are a bit mixed. So on the one hand, the ruins are pretty impressive, so very well preserved buildings. On the other hand, I have to warn that if you come here, expect to pay a high price for the ticket. So the most basic ticket was 40 euros, and then if you include everything, it's 52 euros. Which is shockingly high. And the ticket people at the entrance, they were apologetic, and they said basically it's the government that has done this audiovisual experience, and invested money in it, and racked up the prices. And so I've just come out of this audiovisual experience, and I have to say it's not that great. It's like just 2 large chambers with a lot of projectors, basically, and a melodramatic music and narrative. It's very disappointing, and I would have rather paid a more reasonable price to just see the ruins, because they are the main attraction. And I think this is one of the things that I've seen in some sites I've gone to, is they add this technology like virtual reality or this stuff, and they think they can then charge more, but I think that just devalues the sites that they are supposed to protect and enhance. I would rather see more money going to excavations and then pay special prices for performances, or a special part of the park where more work was needed, and then okay, they charge you to enter there. That I would totally see. But I was really shocked when I bought the ticket that they told me the price. I was like, what? This is unbelievably expensive. We're talking about, you know, for some people that are backpacking, this would be too expensive, right? At the same time, for local Turkish people, they charge a very small price, so they subsidize the ticket basically, and that also adds a little bit to this impression that you're basically being tapped for funding this extravaganza. In addition, there was just so many people standing there, basically just showing you the way, and it's just. It's really it's a bit disappointing. It's actually reflecting a little bit badly on the site. So if you're thinking of visiting Ephesus, keep that in mind. It's still quite, the ruins are quite you know, impressive and unique. So if you're a history buff, you will find something interesting here. It's convenient to base oneself in Selçuk, which is a little town, like 45 minutes walking or 15 minutes drive from the site. So that's my little honest take. I don't really, if something I find is a bit unreasonable, and I will share it. And then yeah, this was Ephesus basically. And after that, I moved on to Bodrum, the famous resort town here in southwestern Turkey. So I've spent here five nights and 5 days now, and I have to say it's a lovely resort town where one can enjoy some good bars and restaurants around the marina and the few streets in the old town. However, it's quite limited in terms of choices of places where to eat and drink, but also in terms of activities. So if I were to reconsider my plan, I would have only stayed here 2 or 3 days. I think that's quite enough to see the sites. There are a few historical sites like this amphitheater, like the Bodrum castle, but more than that, out of season there isn't really much else to do. One of the pleasant aspects of Bodrum are these little municipality-run cafes, I believe. They all have the insignia of the town, and they're dotted across the city center. And this one is literally on the beach, and you can get food and you can get drinks at reasonable prices. And during also Ramadan, which is the month where I'm visiting Bodrum, they're also open, so that's great for tourists, because a lot of other places seem to be closed. Not too bad. I got some kofta with vegetables. Beautiful scenery. So I look forward to the next stage of this leg, where I will go further east, first to the little town of Akyaka. So the Amzak River is a bit special. Apparently 20% of the water is mineral water. And at some parts of the river it goes quite deep, up to 30 meters of depth. It makes the area around the river a little bit unusual from the rest of the landscape. It's a bit weird. It feels like one walks in the middle of the British countryside, but then there are also palm trees on the side of the river. Yeah, it's beautiful color because there's also a whole forest of algae with beautiful green color. So and the water is so clear that you can see these beautiful colors. So it's a very beautiful sight. So if you're passing by, you should definitely stop by. You can just walk beside the river, like I said, and it's really a lovely place. There are lots of cafes and restaurants also to chill. Or you know, you can take also a boat tour. Apparently in the spring and summer they have longer boat tours to mud bath sites and turtle egg nesting kind of places. But now I'm visiting here in March 2024. These longer tours weren't available. Only the short ones were available, so I decided to just take a walk, and really it was good enough. So lovely river and a lovely little town with a bit of a surprising landscape. To visit the Azmak River in Akyaka, I suggest to walk beside the river. There is a walkable path in the beginning and then a walkable normal road, and you don't have to pay, you know, the tourist fees for the boats, and you can see the river and visit some historical sites. So there are ruins just above the village or the town. It's 5 minutes away. And on this road you can also go towards the Lycian tombs. So following this road. That's where I'm headed now. And I initially thought to take the boat, but I'm happy I didn't. I just thought, let's see where the road goes, and you can see the whole river basically just by walking. And it's a very pleasant walk, and lots of nice spots where to stop, have a break, and just enjoy the scenery. Not far along the road of the Azmak River are some Lycian era tombs carved in the stone. They're about 2,500 years old, and so it's a civilization that was here in the Hellenic age. So they were all across southern Anatolia. And they had tombs carved basically inside the rock. So there's 4 here well preserved, or decently preserved. You can see a couple of them apparently were for wealthy aristocratic families, those with nice decorations and emblems. Today I am in Dalyan. It's a little town that's 1 hour away east of Akyaka, where I've been staying. So if you have rented a car, it's an easy drive. There's just a highway and then a little side road. If you're taking the bus like me, it's a little bit of an interesting experience. So you have to go up from Akyaka to the main highway and then hail basically these minibuses that pass. Have to make a sign, catch that one, and then take another minibus from Ortacha town to Dalyan. But it's very cost effective, and once you ask a couple of people, they will point you to the right direction. But it was confusing in the beginning. So today I'm going to look at the ancient Lycian tombs that are here in Dalyan. What are the Lycian tombs? These are tombs that are carved into the rock here that date to 2,500 years ago, at the time of the Lycian civilization. Lycian civilization existed from 1500s BC to 400 BC. There are a few monuments that are left, especially the ones that are like carved into rock. But we know little about this civilization because basically it was merged into the Hellenic one, and then there were countless other civilizations that came to this part of Anatolia. So we have remnants of their language, for example, but we cannot decipher it. And here are 4 tombs that are quite well preserved in Dalyan. One last thing about Dalyan is you don't need to really take a boat to see the tombs. You can just walk from the town alongside the river, and you get as best a view as one can because they are inaccessible. So you cannot go around next to them or inside. And then Dalyan has other highlights. So there are some hot springs, mud baths, as well as a place where apparently turtles lay eggs. So there's countless boats that can take you up to where these places are. Currently it's March 2024, there's not a lot of activity, and I'm not that interested in those activities. I was more interested in seeing these tombs, which are quite spectacular. It's amazing that they are 2,500 years old basically, and they're still standing the passage of time, and they have witnessed so much of what has happened in this region. So that's pretty cool. So I arrived at Marmaris, the last place for the second leg of my exploration of Turkey. I'm not staying that long in Marmaris, I'm just taking the ferry to Rhodes. I expected to find more of a resort town, and it is that. So mostly you see hotels and eateries and bars. So it's a pleasant resort town, it feels, with a nice landscape, but nothing really interesting for the explorers or adventurers amongst us. And this will be like the last part of my second leg here in Turkey. So in summary, I was in Ephesus and Selçuk, then went down to Bodrum, then saw Akyaka and Dalyan, that area, and then came here. I think it's been a mixed kind of week or 10 days. Definitely the landscape and the history of the region are beautiful and are worth the visit. Otherwise, I think what is a little bit underwhelming, I have to say, is sometimes the reaction of people who are owning like hotels or restaurants. Some of them are very kind and welcoming, and some are, let's say, less so. And this is just something to keep in mind. There are countries like that where it's not always cheerful. For example, Italy comes to mind. There are some areas of Italy where people working in the hospitality industry are not always the most welcoming. It's just a social thing, and people also in bigger towns are usually a bit more, let's say, grumpy. And there is a lack of just basic English, which also surprised me because these are fairly touristic towns. So I was expecting a little bit more English, and Turkish is quite difficult as a language. So sometimes it was a little bit difficult to just communicate on really basic stuff that a business is actually just managing for tourists a lot of the time. So it's a mixed feeling here in Turkey, but I enjoyed the sun, I enjoyed the landscape and the history. Ephesus is definitely worth a visit. Then I think Akyaka would also advise to visit. It's a lovely little town, and Dalyan also for the history and landscape. These are definitely little hidden gems, these last two. But otherwise, I look forward to Rhodes. It's beautiful that one can have access to the Greek culture next door, and so I'll spend there a few days, and that's going to be the exploration in my next video. So thanks for watching, and then if you want to follow more of my explorations, not just in Turkey but also in the future, I'm going to Guatemala in April and May. I'm also sharing other explorations around ideas like self-growth, reconversion, following unusual paths in life. So I make also content around these topics. So if you like, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. That helps this little channel grow tremendously. So thank you.